Next.js 15 has arrived with a host of exciting new features that are changing the game for full-stack web development. Hi, my name is Mehmet and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to build a full-stack task manager app using Next.js 15, Mongoose, and TailwindCSS. We will walk you through setting up a backend with MongoDB, creating RESTful API routes, while exploring the latest capabilities of Next.js 15, including enhanced API routes and partial pre-rendering. So grab your code editor and let's dive into the world of latest version of Next.js. Search Google for Next.js Tailwind CSS, then click on the first result. You see the instruction for setting up your Next.js project from Tailwind official documentation. Open up your code editor for Mine VS Code and open a new terminal. Write npx create next app at latest version. Name the project Next.js 15 Task Manager. Use all default settings. Wait for installation getting done. It can take a while, depends on the speed of your internet connection. Locate the project folder using cd command. And then use npm to install Mongoose, Tailwind CSS, and PostCSS with auto prefixer. Now use npx command to initialize Tailwind CSS. In route of project folder, look up for tailwind.config.js and copy all of these text from website. By doing this, you tell the system to include all file formats in these directories that are required to be supported by Tailwind CSS. And then in app folder, search for global.css. And make sure that these three lines of code exist. In Google, search for MongoDB Atlas login. Click on this result and you will see this page. Use any of these options to sign in into the Atlas. I use Google account for authentication. After getting done the authentication process, you will see a page like this. Click on Create a cluster, select Free Plan, and select any region you want. Then click on the Create. On this page, select drivers and choose Mongoose. The connection string should get appeared on this section after creation of cluster. Wait 1 minute or 2 until this process gets done. After a while, you see the string in here. Copy that text. Open your code editor and create a file in route folder .env.local. Define a variable Mongo URI and paste acquired connection string you copied from Atlas and we're done. Close .env file. Create a folder lib and a file db.js. We want to establish our database connection by coding in db.js file. Import Mongoose at first. Define variable Mongo URI. We use .env file to secure our MongoDB, as we should concern about security of this string. We set is connected to false. Then an export function name connect to database with async type. If there is a connection, break the function. Then we use try-catch method to establish our connection. We write this line of code to throw the error in case of any trouble in connecting to database. We're done with database connection. Now we want to define our MongoDB model. Create folder name models and name it task.js. Import Mongoose. Define a new schema and name it task schema. In this schema, we have title with string type and required true, which force the existence of this field. Then description with string type, with default value of this text, which shows the clock. And another one status, with type of string and default value of under review. Create a folder in route of project pages, another folder API, and create a file name it tasks.js. In this file, we want to use database connection and task model we define in the last steps to create our API routes. Create an export default function handler. Call database connection function with await tag. Then define two variable method and ID. We use method to handle different type of API requests. Case get, case post, put, delete, and default. And then for each one, we write these codes. For get method, this line of code tells the database to search for any entry in task model. In the second line, return response with 200 HTML status code including tasks in JSON format. Don't forget to write break after each case of switch method. And for post method, this line of code tells database to create a new entry with data received from break.body. In the second line of code, return responses with 201 HTML status code including new tasks in JSON format. For put method, this line of code tells database to find any entry with this provided ID and update it with new data. And then return updated entry in JSON with 200 HTML status code. And finally, for delete, this line tells database to find any entry with this ID and delete it. In case that any request besides of these four main API methods, we define default to return error message. Under the pages directory, create a new file Index.js. Then import useState and useEffect hooks from React, and then import scalable.css to apply TailwindCSS on this page. Then create an export default function with name of home. And now it's time to define our variables for main app index, constant task and its setter, useState array type. We use this array to store tasks, new task and setter, useState and string type. Store new task title as a string, constant new description and its setter, and we use useState as a string type. Store new task description as a string. And constant filter and its setter. useState as a string type with default value of all. Store the current selected filter for filter section. Constant active task and its setter. useState with null default value. Store which task is selected by user to perform actions like delete task or change status. Constant new task menu and its setter. useState with false default value. Store status for new task menu. Now we use useEffect method to fetch task. And useEffect is a React hook that lets you synchronize a component with an external system, call everything inside on each render frame. Now define a constant function fetch tasks with async type. A function to call API in order to fetch tasks from DB and make it visible on the UI. Constant res equals await fetch this API route. On the first line, we write this method to call API with desired routes and store API response to the res variable. Constant data equals await res.json. Use res as JSON type and store it on data constant variable. Set task data. Call setTask in order to store full version of task received from API in our array. Then let's define a function to call API in order to add new tasks to database. Const add task with async type. An if statement to control data safety. Await fetch API tasks. Method post. And for headers, we use content type application JSON. And for the body of this fetch request, we stringify these data as JSON, title, new task, and description, new description. By this line, we put new task as title and new description as description with a JSON type to the body of this fetch request. Set new task, empty string, and set new description, empty string, and then call fetch task function to clear new task, to clear new description, Now we want to define a function to call API in order to change the status of tasks like done, in progress, and etc. A new constant, toggle task with async type, and two variables as param. Await fetch this API route with the ID we get from params. The API method is put, and on the headers, we set content type to application JSON. And for the body, and we send a status params with JSON format. Now another function to call API in order to delete the task with desired task ID. Constant delete task with async type. Await fetch API tasks. Question mark ID. This API call use delete method. Now we want to write a function for filtering the task in the UI. constant filter task, task.filter with task param. If filter equals all, return true. All is the default value of filter. Or otherwise, return task.status which equals to filter. We're done with the main functions of Index.js, and it's time to write the UI. Write a new div, class name bgslate15. At this part, we want to code header section to show profile picture and add new task button. Div class name, get flow column, justify between peaks 3, margin bottom 4, and padding top 3. Another nested div, class name text black, import Next.js image components, and then image source profile.png, profile.jpg with width of 16, class name rounded, full. Don't forget to include and profile.jpg file into the public folder of your project. Button class name, text white, bg black, padding x6 and padding y3, rounded full, text to XL. Write an onClick event, set new task menu true. By writing this code, when user click on this button, new task menu values set on true. Open a new terminal. By writing this command, your project will run on dev mode and you can see everything on your browser. Open up your browser and write this URI, localhost on port 3000. There's a conflict with app pages. You should consider deleting one of them. Go to your project. Under the app directory, delete page.tsx. Now another error appeared. Oh, there's a typo. Task.filter on the line of 56. I made a mistake and typed it filter. And another one error appeared. After looking up for this problem, I found that under the model directory task.js, I made a mistake on this line. Add an S after this model, and it's up. On the design side, we have mobile first approach. So let me open Firefox and on the DevTools, enable mobile mode. Now we want to code add new task section. If new task menu true, this section will be show up. Div class name, fixed, inset 0, bg black, bg opacity 70, backdrop blur empty, flex, item center, justify center, Z40. A nested div class name, bg white, width of 4, max width MD, margin X auto, rounded LG, space Y3 and space X2. Nested H1 class name, text gray 700, text to Excel, add new task. Create an input, type text, class name, border, padding 2, width full, PG gray 50, and border gray 600. Rounded to Excel and placeholder text dash gray 400 and text gray 800. And for the placeholder, write task name. The value of this input is from new task variable. And set unchanged events to call set new task setter on every change of this input. Now let's copy this input and add another input for the description. Then add a new button, class name bggreen 500, width of half, margin is auto px4 and py2 rounded full. And add onClick event, add task. Copy this button in order to add another button to close this pop-up window. Make it border red 500. And text red 500. Okay, we're done with this section. On the next section, we want to show the filter menu on the top of our application. Div class name, filter section, grade flow column, padding x3, and space x2, padding button 4. Add a new button with class name, filter button, padding x4 and padding y2, text xs, and text gray 600. In here we use tribute statements, if filter equals all, border 2, border gray 600, rounded full, text gray 800. In otherwise, border 2, border gray 700, rounded full, and text gray 600. And then adding on-click events, even user click on this button, the filter setter set filter make this variable as done. Let's copy this button 3 times to add 3 another button for this filter. All done in progress and under review. And we're done with filter section. Now let's go to another section to show tasks on the UI. UL class name, GRUD, and in here we use .map function to extract every task from filtered task array and show them up. Filtered task.map task into this list section. We add another attribute statements to check the status of task. If the value of task.status equals done, there's a done class name relative grid flow row, item center, margin bottom 1, rounded 3xl, and text LG. And if task.status equals done, the background during 500, And for task.status under review, background slate 400, and otherwise background cyan 600. Margin 2 and padding x4, font light, and we're done with styling this section. Add a new nested div class name grade columns 3, and by writing this we have 3 columns to show the content on each tile. Another div class name called span2, another div class name margin top 4, and padding bottom 4 with text array 100. And div class name flex1 to show the title of task. With onClick event to capture the task ID for active task variable. Another div class name takes XS empty4, empty6, to show the task.description. Another div class name to show the status of current task. Use another attribute statement to show done, under review, and in progress on the UI. And let's add full screen pop-up modal for actions menu. In this section, we code the UI part of this application When user click on each task, and menu will pop up to show the buttons for changing the status of task, deleting, changing to done, in progress, and etc. Check if active task equals to task.id. A div class name fixed inset 0, bggrade 100, bg opacity 95, flex column, justify center, item center, P4 and Z20. As you can see, when user click on each task, a pop-up menu will open. And there is 5 buttons on this menu to change the status of this task or deleting this task and closing this menu. And now you have a working demo that every action works as we want, and filter section doing his job as we want. Let's add a new task and check whether it's working as accepted. This close button is not working, and let's find out where's the problem. Yeah, I made a mistake on this onClick event. You should change this to function set new task menu into the false. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed building the full stack task manager app with latest version of Next.js. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more content like this.